All right, everyone, welcome to Old School. This is Old School. I'm journaling this car on Renlist. So I'm taking photos, writing descriptions, sharing links, stuff like that. And I'm going to be shooting a lot of these videos myself. So you're going to get some crappy angles, hopefully not out of focus, but probably wrong exposure, and I'll probably mess up the audio at some point. It'll be an old school Obsessed Garage, old school Maddie video. And we're doing an old school car, old school-ish. I guess it is now old school. This is a 2011, so it's, what, 12 years old now. But this is a 30,652 miles, I think, are on it right now. 997.2 GT3RS in gray black, and it has black interior. And so this part of the series is interior. So make sure you go to, I'll put a link in the description for the journal on Renlist. Journaling all of this stuff if you like to read or prefer to look at photos and stuff like that. So I've already done the driver's side sort of off video camera and did it stills, and now this passenger side I'm going to do the the video portion of this. I'm going to try to do that on most things where I capture not just video but photos as well. It's a freaking lot of work. I've forgotten. I don't know how I did it. I had a job, we had 2 young kids, and man, talk about obsessed. Building the website, all that stuff. So I've been slacking the last few years, it seems, with diverting my attention to other things on creating and building the Obsessed Garage business. But I now have a bunch of people to help me do this kind of stuff and doing all of the back end of packing and shipping products and creating products and all that stuff. So I'm not actually doing any of that anymore. And so now I get to focus on the car. And so I bought this thing because I assumed I'd have to do a lot of this stuff, and I was taking note of it when I bought it. We looked at the Carfax. I guess I'm the 5th owner of the car. Wes at Titan didn't own it. He was just consigning it for the owner, the 4th owner. I'm the 5th owner. The car has seen tons and tons and tons of track miles, and so a couple of things are going on here. First, the violence of the track, people sliding around, the harnesses kind of wear on things. That's one thing. The second thing is, most people really don't know how to care for leather and Alcantara. In fact, pretty much nobody does, other than you crazy people who watch these videos. That you've sort of watched me, if you've been watching me since 2014, back in the blue GT3, you've seen me sort of learn how to care for Alcantara. We're going to sand it, we're going to restore it, we're going to use a steamer. And so I've kind of created my own little process around how I would care for Alcantara by leveraging other detailing experts and other, and then trial and error on my own. So we're going to take the seat out. I'm going to take the steering wheel out. I'm going to take the shifter out. We're going to work on the door card. So I think in today's video, I'm going to do the steering wheel in a separate video because I think that'll be a little bit more useful to the Porsche world. But for this video, I want to start with, I'm going to take the seat out, get the harnesses off, get the door cards cleaned, get the seat restored. The beauty of the passenger seat, I'm pretty sure we'll be able to determine it when we get it out of the car and onto the cart here. The driver's seat needs some repair, and I'm going to do a separate video on that, on how I repair the leather. But the passenger seat, I think, is going to be pretty good. So I'm hoping when we take it out, we get it under the lights here, we take a closer look at it, we're going to be able to just clean it. I don't even have to call it restoring it. We're going to clean it very well, and then go from there. We're also going to clean the seat belt and see what else we get into here. So let's get moving. All right, so first step, I'm going to detach the seatbelt here. And like I said, I'm cheating a little bit because I already did the driver's side, so now I know what to do. Be less fumbling. I suspect I am much, much more proficient on mechanically detailing pretty much everything than I was in my original journaling days. Actually, I could take this out second. No, because we have to detach the seatbelt here. That's the easier thing to do. I'll show you what I did to fix the other side. Man, it looks great. I don't know if you can see this. You probably can, but it's really freaking dirty. Part of it is probably dye transfer from the leather, but most of it's just dirt. So set that aside. I'll take this off. Let's take note to how the seatbelt's coming in here. So it's coming in this way. So with this back, so we flip it over. I'm sure I'll be able to figure that out. Let's let that retract. Let's take the harness off. We're not going to be retaining the harnesses. If you want some these Schroth, they look pretty darn new. These I think these were probably added with the roll bar here, with the Titan roll bar. If you want these, I think they're pretty expensive, but I'd sell them to you at a decent price. We're gonna replace the Ed guards with some fresh ones, just because I can. Let's take our. Gotta take these plastics off, and then we can expose the bolts. Now, these seats are awesome because they fold, but they are, at least on Suncoast, they are $35,000 a pair. I don't think they cost that much originally, but supposedly you can still order them. Now, I'm going to color lock repair it. So all I did was just pop this little tab here in order to slide the covers off. Luckily, these covers look pretty good, so I don't have to replace this. You have several owners of a car, especially this car was, I'm pretty sure, a utility. This was a track utility for a PCA instructor. So a combination of, most people aren't as ridiculous as I am when it comes to care and maintenance on a car, especially on a utility. Remember, this thing, at one point, these cars were like 120 grand. The sticker on this was 164, 165 back in 2011. And then they sold for way under that. And I think many of them sold for under sticker. And then, you know, when they were used, they're sold for a lot less. And then I paid freaking 260 grand for it. After seeing its condition, I'm an idiot. I should have paid. This car was probably worth 220 today, not 260 or 230. But you don't know until you tear it apart. I should have been a little less hasty and probably should have been a little smarter about it. But the beauty of it, I'm telling you, the ability for me to be able to do all this stuff has a residual benefit for me, because hopefully you guys will buy a lot of these products I'm going to show you as I'm working through, or ultimately I'm hoping that many of you will buy garages and stuff like that, buy cabinets and tools and all kinds of cool stuff. So these are external Torx E12. And these seats only weigh like 25 pounds, so not super difficult to lift out of the car. Now, if I was timing this properly, which I'm not going to be able to, I ordered a satin black roll bar. And because I ordered satin black, I'm going to retain the red seat belts, save me a couple grand in swapping out these the door pulls and the seat belts. So I want the satin black. If I go satin black, it'll afford me the ability to do that and have it not look weird. You don't need to frickin' match your seat belts to your calipers. Makes no sense to me. I mean, it's not that it doesn't make any sense. It's just not something I give a crap about. To get the head out. Careful not to scratch things. Nice. All right, so you can see it looks pretty decent in here. Let me jump in here. I've already vacuumed this side out, but I haven't vacuumed this yet. Looks okay. I'm sure you can see me here. This Alcantara is pretty decent. There's a couple little nicks on here. This piece here is like $1,200 or something like that. So I think I think it's acceptable to me. The shift knob, I'm pretty sure just from Porsche is a little janky. I'm gonna pull this thing off. So I'm gonna pull this boot off and pull off the shifter. I think these just pull straight off. This is where usually you hurt yourself. Looks pretty good. So I'm gonna fix this. It looks like, I'm pretty sure I got numeric cables as well. And then this piece here I'm going to replace. I'm going to take this off. These buttons here are real sticky, so I'm going to order those. I haven't ordered anything yet. I've been compiling a list. But this carbon fiber shift knob is like another $1,000. So I'm going to clean this really well. Clean and sand this here. I'll be able to get this matting off. I'm going to clean this here, so we'll do that on camera here today. I'm going to do a little basic cleaning on this. How do people scratch this stuff up? This is all scratched to crap. I'm trying to jam in their darn iPod or something stupid. This is all scratched. Everything else looks okay. So we're going to do that. We're going to clean this. We're going to remove this separately. I got to clean the dash, get all the frickin' armor, all the junk off of there if we can. But everything else looks okay. And so because of how easy the seats are to get out, we'll do the cage whenever that shows up. Okay. So let's dig into this. Let's first take this harness off. Let's get this out of the way. 17 mil. These harnesses look like they're brand new. I think he probably just added it when they did the Titan cage. So I'll show you the driver's seat in a minute, but the driver's seat I've got all set up, and then I ordered some color lock stuff to get it all dialed. So these seats are more than 3 years old. So the leather is going to require an extra step. I'm going to pull the Alcantara out. We're going to clean that over on the bench. I'm going to sand it after it's dry. So that won't be until tomorrow. Okay, so they sell this top piece, and they sell each individual bolster. So they sell that stuff, but it's not, I doubt we'll be able to get it within, it'll probably take a year to order the darn stuff. You can also buy these inserts, but I don't need to because they're in decent enough shape. So I'm gonna fix all this, just give it a nice cleaning. So I might as well take it off since it comes off so easily like that. Same thing with the little lumbar section here on the back. So you'll put these over here on the bench. We'll clean these up in a minute. This section here is just a little rough. So I'll show you how to, the driver's side was a lot more rough because obviously the driver's side is going to have more mileage on it. You just pull this like so. penny. I'm gonna vacuum this up. Let's take the edge guard off. I had ordered new ones, new fresh ones, although these aren't terrible. Let's vacuum this. So this is the vacuum you want. I'm still working on the Obsessed Garage solution, but this Flex is freaking awesome. Let me move you over, buddy. Move your little spot. So this vacuum, if you're looking for, here are my Porsche gents, this is the one you want. We have these in the store. It's freaking amazing. It's a great vacuum. The only other one I'd recommend would be some version of a Festool, but the accessories on this are pretty awesome in comparison to what's available for most other things. I'm still working on the Obsessed Garage solution. All right, so turn it on. That looks pretty good. I'm gonna take this, just do a little tape trick. Be better to do something like duct tape or something. I just don't have any here, so we'll just use our tape for polishing. Just gonna do one of these deals. Okay, next step before I get too far, cleaning the leather up, let's pull the sticker off the back of the seat here. So yeah, as I suspected, the passenger seat is in great shape. The driver's seat's got two areas that I'm going to try to repair with what's called Leather Fresh. And then I ordered like a leather filler and a leather glue. So I'm gonna make an attempt at repairing, because even though this is available, I don't think it's theoretically available. I don't think I can get one in the time frame that I need it. What do you think? I mean, can these, I don't want to mess with it, but can this, I'm assuming this just kind of pops in there. Do you need any kind of special tool to replace that if I did screw up my repair? So when we pull out the cage, I'm going to pull off the tint and do a really light 70% tint on the car. I have decided I'm not going to do the white gold. I'm going to leave it clean looking. I'm going to take all the yellow badges off, because that's what I would do if it were my car, if I was going to keep it forever. Okay, and we're going to take and use a little bit of Tarex. Just need a little bit of this, one of these, shop towels. Spray directly on the towel. Get it on there, let it sit for a second or two. And it'll come right off. See all the adhesive coming right off. Makes a little bit of a mess before it gets better. Okay, then we'll take some CarPro eraser. Let's clean the back side. Get all the oils, fingerprints, all that stuff off of it. And then we're gonna just do a polymer sealant on this, because this will never see any rain or anything like that. So I'm gonna put Jescar Power Lock Plus on here. It'll just make it slick and easy to wipe in the future if I ever needed to or wanted to. Jescar Power Lock Plus. Just a little bit like that. And we're gonna seal. Try to keep it off the leather. Completely unnecessary, but cool nonetheless. Let's put this away, we're done with this. So the plan is that I'll have, in my write-ups, I will have all of this stuff linked. So if you're interested in doing it, some part of this process or all of this process, everything that I do to this car will be linked and described, written up, as well as videoed, so you'll be able to chase all of that stuff. Let's wipe this off. Oh, there's nothing better than wiping off Power Lock. Super, super slick. And this will last darn near forever here in the interior of the car. I thought about polishing the back, but it looks shiny enough. Yeah, I just don't think it's necessary. You're never gonna get back there to see, to scrutinize it, but I think they're probably in pretty decent shape anyway. Okay, so that's the de-stickering. A quick little layer of sealant that took me just a few minutes, just a few seconds to do. Since we have the Alcantara out, let's do our leather. So first step is to clean it. Hope you're getting the gist of this. So I've got a bucket of water here and a couple of brushes. This is a very specific brush. Even though this has the Obsessed Garage name on it, this is the color lock version. I've had them sitting in a bucket of water, so they're not super pretty. Very specific brush for doing a very specific task, which is cleaning leather. And then I'm going to use a very specific cleaner that is the proper pH. I believe this is slightly acidic. I forget what Lars said. Doesn't matter. This is the stuff you want to use. I had a box of it. One of the bottles broke, and so I got all the janked up bottles. But don't judge me for that. So I'm going to get the product on. And I'm not using a lot of pressure. I'm really not using any pressure. But you'll see in a second here after I get it all applied. Now, this leather's older than 3 years, and so we're going to do an additional step, which is to add a protection layer, sort of rebuild a little bit of the coating. So this leather is called coated leather, so it's basically spray painted on the color and the top coat, but it's still porous. So I'm not a proponent at all of using the detailing companies, because they don't know jack about this kind of stuff. So every detailing company has a product filler, which is some sort of leather cleaner. Companies like Swiss Vax, they hire Color Lock to make a lot of their products. Not all of them, but some of them. Companies like, all the big detailing brands, CarPro, Gion, McGuire's, they all have their own leather care stuff, but I'm gonna go to the leather care experts and just leverage their many decades of expertise. And so Color Lock is out of Germany. think the company is called Later Zentrum, something like that. So that pulls any shine or sheen out of the leather. You could do it multiple times if you needed to. I found that one cleaning is all I need. Not a huge transformation because the seat's in pretty decent shape. The other driver's seat had a lot more wear and tear on it, as you might imagine. I find bolster protectors not as necessary for me because I take the care, but as long as you install the bolster protector properly, I think it doesn't detract anything. This cleaner is freaking awesome. Like, I use it all over the place. We'll use it right here on the seat belt. Show you how I'm going to restore the white chalkiness there of that. I don't know that I'd call it restoring, but I throw my brushes in the bucket of water and there's all kinds of dirt that shows up in there. Beautiful. So what we'll do is we'll clean it. We'll put the top coat, the leather protection cream on, I guess the base coat. And then we're going to follow with leather shield, which is the sacrificial layer. Think of it like your shield is kind of like your like a wax, where the idea is that as you make contact with the surface, as you slide in and out, you're not sliding and abrading the leather, you're like taking a little bit of the shield away, and then you just reapply the shield regularly. While we're here, let's fix this with simple WD-40. So it's kind of white chalky a little bit. So this WD-40 won't last forever, but it will help too. Oil, if you will, the chalky seatbelt. I'll do a couple applications of that. It should hold up for 6 months or so until it starts to get chalky again. Isn't that pretty? Nice. I forget where I learned that trick. It's been a long time. I certainly didn't make it up. Probably Google searched it. It's okay to have some water on your brush so you can pull it right out of the bucket. So what I'll probably do is I'm going to put the seats back in after we do the center console, the steering wheel. Then when the cage comes, I should have the stuff I ordered. I ordered the Porsche black version of leather fresh. See this here? See this little section right there? That's what I'm going to attempt to repair. And then this little section up here, this is on the driver's seat, I'm going to attempt to repair. But when we're all said and done, see the Alcantara is nice and fresh and clean. This has leather shield, been cleaned up, so I just finished this one this morning. Okay, here's what we got. Dupre Tosca. It's at 312 degrees. I'm going to turn this to 2, steam level 2 out of 3. We get it going. I find that steam, heats a bit. But the main reason I'm doing this is so I don't soak it down. I'm just adding enough water to do what I need done, but not so much as to where I'm soaking the Alcantara. Okay, so we just got the surface level damp. Take my same spun or same brush that I use for leather care. This is Sonex Alcantara and upholstery cleaner. Now remember, when you're cleaning fabric, this putting the product on is not the cleaning part. It's the taking the product out, which is the tricky part with Alcantara, is I can't totally get the product out of here, but I want to get some of it out. So when you wash your cars when you wash your towels, or you wash your laundry, wash your clothes in the laundry in the washer, you put the detergent in, the detergent gets into the fabric, and then when you do the rinse cycle, that's when the cleaning actually happens. So you're lifting the detergent. So this product is going in here to then hopefully help lift the dirt when I do the rinse part. Now notice I'm not, Alcantara isn't quite as gentle as you'd think it is. It's really pretty durable stuff. If you do this, kind of care to it reasonably often. So where it gets all nasty is when it gets dirty and oily, and then you don't clean it. And then what happens is, then the oil matted Alcantara starts to release, the fibers start to fall out, and then they get, from your rubbing on it, from your sliding in and out, the dislodged fabric or dislodged pieces of the little micro suede, if you will, then gets kind of balled up and gets stuck. And then that's when you have to get it off and get it out of there. So you'll see that on the steering wheel when I do that. This doesn't have any of that. This is good news. We do that. Then we take an awful weave towel. And we want to try to get this stuff out. And it's not super dirty, so that's good news. That's how we do it. And the steam, I think a little bit of heat might help. But the steam is just so that I don't have to get it super duper wet. I need to start selling that Dupre, man. How many Dupres I probably sold. I'm telling people about it. I think it's freaking awesome. I've seen a lot of other steamers, but it's one of the things I didn't get until maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and I use that darn thing all the time. It's $1,000, but worth every penny. So that's it. The other nice thing, the reason why I like this cleaner, this Alcantara cleaner, is clearly I'm not getting it all out. All right, so I'm not getting all of the cleaner out of the Alcantara, but it dries inside of the Alcantara nicely, so it doesn't cause any problems. So that's the process. I'm gonna do the same thing on these two pieces. We're gonna let these dry. We'll see if they probably have to dry overnight. And then I'll show you how to sand them just to kind of fluff it up. And I'll probably only sand the base. I probably won't sand these other two. So I'm gonna do the same thing to these, and then we'll go back to the interior. All right, let's do the shift knob and shift boot. So the shift boot probably just needs cleaned. It's not gonna need sanded. Let's see. Here's the knob. Now, oftentimes when you do this, we're gonna end up creating balls. We're gonna dislodge dirt. We're gonna dislodge some fibers, and then they're gonna necessitate having to sand it. So don't freak out. And I've gotten this a lot wetter than I normally do because it's a whole lot dirtier. Let's see how, yeah. See how dirty that gets? See, it wipes out pretty well, this stuff, this Sonax stuff. I really like it. So we definitely got it clean. Now we're gonna decide if we can save this or not. So once this dries with the rest of the stuff, I'm gonna tape this up. And all this extra fabric is gonna have to get sanded up. But that's pretty typical of the steering wheel. Is going to do something similar to this. So if I were to maintain this, I wouldn't have this happen. So if I would clean it once every 6 months or so, I'd probably end up doing this again. I wouldn't take all the stuff out. Like I wouldn't take the seats out. I wouldn't take the boot off. I'd do it in the car. But I probably wouldn't do this for like like a year and a half. So maybe every 18 months. Okay, time to clean up the door card. So we'll work from top down. There's a little bit of a scrape there. So I'm gonna clean, so this part here is leather. Then we have Alcantara. We have the dirty look. So I'm gonna clean this first, actually. We have this dirty guy here, so let's take a little bit of all-purpose cleaner. Get my steamer over here as well. I'll need that. So do that. I found what works best in the seatbelt material is, this is Kosh Chemi Green Star, diluted 4:1. It's a all-purpose cleaner. And then you just take our same brush. That's pretty much it. And we'll steam it out. Okay, so now let's do the leather. It's good. Good and clean. No need to replace it. So we got our strong cleaner. And a brush. And we're gonna get all the shininess out of the leather door cards here. See, this side isn't too bad. You don't see a bunch of brown dirt showing up here, so that's good news. So I experimented on the other door. We'll see how it comes out. But it was all scratched up, getting kicked on the way out. So I cleaned it with strong cleaner. And then I followed it with some P&S interior cleaner. And then I coated it with G-Technic Exo. We'll see how that looks. It looks like I got most of the scratches out. It was really jacked up looking, but it still feels kind of gummy, so I'm not sure how that's gonna do. Let me just wipe it. Looks pretty good now. I had some decent success on the other side. Cleaning this down with strong cleaner. This side is much nicer than the driver's side. I suspect these door cards are a lot of money. And they're pretty decent looking, pretty decent shape here. Yeah. All right, let's put our leather protection cream on. So the only part that's leather is this upper part here. Gosh, look how much better. Now the Alcantara is still wet, but I'm telling you, once I do the first, when it dries and I just lightly dust it with the sander, you're gonna see it look magical, brand new. I'm gonna do the same exact cleaning process to the dash, and the center console. That's all this puppy needed, is a solid weekend's worth of love on the interior.